The process for counting ballots varies from state to state. Caitlin Ross offering us some perspective tonight.
We have a team of journalists working to get updates from every county where there are still outstanding ballots. And there are a lot of them. That's because in Georgia, the ballots can be sorted when they're received, but they can't be counted until Election Day. A new rule passed by the state election board allowed the ballots to be sorted and scanned 15 days out, which is helping to speed the process up some. But because voters had until yesterday to get their ballots to the election office, our waiting game continues. There are some states where the ballots can be counted as soon as they're received, but in many of the places where we're still waiting for results, election officials have to wait until Election Day. That's the case in Michigan, where President Trump's campaign has filed a lawsuit to gain access to observe the process. Our legal analyst, Paige Pate, says he absolutely expected that stipulation would be the subject of several lawsuits across the United States.
And you can't simply go to the Supreme Court. What has to happen is a valid, legitimate legal challenge has to be made to a district court, a lower court, and it can work its way up to the Supreme Court. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, and it can only happen if there's a legitimate legal challenge to counting those ballots.
Pate says he thinks we're in this for the long haul and not to expect final results in the presidential election tonight. That's because several swing states are getting ballots in. Here in Georgia, another potential issue we're watching, problems with the U.S. Postal Service not getting those ballots delivered in time.